Live recovery stories.
Yeah. Alright. Seems like it's that time. Let me just see what's going on here.
Live recovery stories.
Yeah. And slowly but surely the people's coming on. Lekker. Alright. It's good to see you people coming on. Looks like it's that time. Let me just see what's going on here. Right, good evening everybody. Good evening Vincent, Wayne, Lee J. Hi Lee J. How are you, man? Haven't spoken to you for a while. That's lekker, Lee J. Just hold on. Yeah, hi there. Nance, evening Denise, evening Auntie Michelle. I'm alright, Auntie Michelle. Everything's alright, eh? You know, what I gotta keep doing is doing what I do, you know. Thank the man. Evening, Mr. Hall. Hi, sir. I know you're good, Mr. Hall. Mr. Hall doing what he's doing, what he does best, you know. I've been here before with Mr. Hall, and the same sort of situation occurred in that. The man is a master at it, eh? Always seen Mr. Hall operating and doing everything that he has to do, you know, for the better of this country and, for the better of us addicts. Graham, how's it? Thank you. Yeah, no, how's it going? Hello, Colleen, yes. Ronaldo Toy, hello, thank you. Lekker om jou weer te sien. Ja, no, it feels good to be online this evening, you know. You know, this evening I got something that I'm sitting with that I've wanted to speak about for a while now, you know. On the 18th, I hit 18 months here, 1.5 years sober. Somewhere I never ever thought I would have got to, you know. And I only got to 1.5 years sober by being here at RAEL, you know. And the topic that I see that I sort of wanted to go on to this evening comes down to, you know, being able to learn in our recovery, make mistakes. Here at RAEL, we're allowed to do those things, you know, make mistakes and try correct ourselves. Sometimes we don't always correct ourselves, and then we have to be corrected by Mr. Hall or Mr. Schuller, you know. And evening Jennifer, evening Auntie Sharon, and you know, like the thing that's been lingering in my heart a lot is you know, like in my first, say, 1 month to 6 months and that, you know, I made a lot of mistakes. Even actually between my 8 months and 1 year, I made a lot of mistakes, and I got into a lot of trouble here on the RAEL farm, especially from Mr. Hall. You know, sometimes, as I always said, very, very, very hard from Mr. Hall. You know, but I needed to be humbled by Mr. Hall. I needed to be told straight. I was never told straight in my life. There was never that father figure like Mr. Hall is in my life, cucking me out and telling me exactly what has to happen and how it has to happen and putting me, as I say, on my placement. So I always thought I was the bigger than the game. Nobody could tell me what to do because my way and my thinking was the only and the right way, you know. And Mr. Hall, as I said, humbled me and took me down a notch, you know, and made me teachable. Yeah, there's still some things that I struggle with and listening and sort of taking the advice or the suggestions given to me and that. But being here now on the Olympia, hey, Ashley's mother, one of my good school friends from like the age of about 14, 15, you know, spoke to her the other day how she's following us, and our daughter messaged me saying she's also proud of me, Ashley. It's good to know that the parents and old friends and that good friends are following us and following us addicts and getting messages from what us addicts have to give today. But yeah, that's me.
You are in charge. Can I open up the rooms for the guys?
Yeah, for now. No, it's not 10 o'clock yet.
Okay, missed it.
Okay.
Whenever you can it open.
But yeah, no, you're the man. Love you always. Thank you, Heather. How's it, Gladwin? Lekker. Good to see you on here, Gladwin. Haven't seen you in a while. And you know, Andrew, how's it? Yeah, so where I was sort of coming to is Now, after I got here a year, you know, after I've been here a year and up to now the year and a half and that, there's times when I sit and I think to myself, hey man, like, why is Mr. Hall and Mr. Schuler not cucking me out, not scaling me out, not correcting me? I can see where I'm going wrong, you know, and I'm trying to correct myself, but sometimes I just don't sort of make the, how can I say, like the line of correcting myself 100% and putting myself directly into line. And I've had this very big, like, how can I say, almost awakening to it as to what happens, you know, like, one day I'm going to leave RAEL. I'm not going to be here the rest of my life, you know. For now, this is the best place for me to be, yes. But you know, like, for now, this is still the training ground. This is what I have to go through, and this is what I'm going through, you know, every single day. And that I'm far from the end product, as I always say. You know, I got a very long way to go. When I get to 16 years, then maybe I'll say, hey, I've accomplished something. I've got to where Mr. Hall is today, you know. But something that always, that's exactly on. That's exactly what it is, Mr. Hall. You always tell them straight when you love them. You know, yeah, you know, Mr. Hall, you even say that there's been times that I question whether Mr. Hall did love me or not even, you know, like, he's been so hard on me. Nobody's ever been so hard on me, you know. My parents love me, but they were never hard on me. But let's look at it, like, straightforward, and let's be honest here, like, my parents' way that they dealt with me didn't work. But Mr. Hall's way has worked. That hardness and the tough love that Mr. Hall has shown me has worked, man, and has got me to where I am today. And you're going back to the sort of the topic that I wanted to speak about, you know, like, after a year to my year and a half, like I said, I've been through struggles, and I see myself, like, making these mistakes, and there's times I try to correct them, and I don't always correct them, and I don't always get pulled back into line, but maybe a little bit along the line, 2-3 weeks later, I start pulling myself back into line, you know, and I realize why they've left me and left me to my own devices sometimes is because when I leave this rehab, when I leave here one day, maybe it's a year, 2-3 years time, 4 years time, you know, there's going to be nobody there on the outside to pull me right and sort of give me the guidance that is available to here at RAEL. So I get given the rope a bit more here. I'm allowed to hang myself, obviously. And yeah, I try not to hang myself. You know, get into, like, where I sort of said, sorry, I just want to turn this thing a bit, I'm sitting a bit uncomfortable, but yeah, is, you know, if I wasn't allowed to make the mistakes here at RAEL and allowed to pull myself right, would I be ready to leave here one day? Because there's nobody out there that's babying me, that's going to baby me and give me the answers every single day that I'm looking for when I'm struggling and everything isn't right, you know. And the biggest thing also that I've learned here at RAEL is that every single thing you're going through, Tank, you just have to go through it. There's only one way to do it, and that's go through it. There's always better times to come, you know. And I'm somebody that believes that, because, you know, it was difficult to believe that when I was here in between the first month and 6 months, because there isn't many good days, you know. A lot of the days still between then is struggles, and you're fighting with yourself. You're fighting the battle in your mind, you know, that's going on, and everything you're thinking, you sort of believing at that time, even though it's still thinking. And sort of where I'm getting to is, like, between 1 and 6 months, yeah, you have to get corrected, man. So that you can learn which is the right way. And hopefully I see that this is the right way, and hopefully I learn from the lesson, and I take the cucking out that I've got to my head, you know, and not just let it go in the one ear and out the other. Because when you get to, as I said, to that year and that year and a half, there's no Mr. Hall and Mr. Kurt out there if I'm at home. That's in my ear and sort of align me to do the right thing, or sort of guiding me in the way to do the right thing. So what better place than to do it in a rehab, to go through what you have to go through, learn the lesson, sometimes a hard lesson, but to pick yourself back up and know that the next day is going to be better. Because if I didn't go through all the tough days that I went through a year ago, I wouldn't be able to sit here today and know that whatever I'm feeling right now is always going to feel better tomorrow, or the next day, or maybe the next day. That's how I start growing in faith, as well. And that's what God's given me. God sort of showed me the way in faith. Like in the beginning, it's difficult to have faith when you have a bad day and tomorrow you have a good day, and then you check like, hey, it's going to be good from now on. And then afterwards again, you have another bad day and you're like, hey, man, I can't understand what's going on here. Like, why am I having another bad day? Check Mr. Shuli in the background, everyone. Say hi.
No. Thanks, the man of the moment.
Yeah, no, always here. You see, he's behind me because he's my mentor. I take Mr. Shula as my mentor, And Mr. Hall, if he was standing here on the right-hand shoulder, or maybe above my head, rather, I would have Mr. Hall teach me right. That's how I'd love it to be, Oh, Clutchy. Yeah, state. Clutchy, what's happening? I haven't heard much from you lately. Look at that smart brother behind you. Yeah, the glasses makes him a bit smarter, Alexander. And like, hey, another thing I just want to say, like, I went home this weekend to my family, spent a night by my cousin's house, and then a night by my auntie and that, and I tell you, I had an absolutely amazing time with my family, I wasn't in the best of spaces, but just being around them, it gave me that little bit of sense of love again, and that everything around me is going to be okay, because my family's here, man. But let me say this as well. On my way back to the farm, driving back to the farm, I've never been so excited in my life. I was gone for 3 days and I'm driving back up to the farm, and Grant's sitting next to me, and I'm like, hey, Grant, my bro, I can't wait to get back here. Because this is my home, man. Where I'm coming back to is my home. I feel that home here. I feel the love here from the people. And there's nothing better than this feeling, knowing that I'm coming back to a safe place tonight as well. And something Mr. Shula has always taught me is Tank, and I always I've always taken this so carefully on what he's taught me. He said, if you make a decision on your emotions, you're acting out on impulse. Always go through first what you're going through. Get to that state where you sort of get a bit of peace of mind of what you're going through, and you're feeling rather better about it. Because, when you're emotional, you tend to be thinking, and you tend to be down, and the thinking's not really like where it needs to be. And so these days I sort of like to sit back, go through what I'm going through. And once I'm at sort of a peace of mind with the situation that I'm going through, I then like to take actions, because this program is about action. Auntie Vanessa spoiled Grant a bit in Cape Town this weekend, and this weekend, and even when I was there, she gave me a lot of love every day, coming to say hello. And yeah, it really feels good to sometimes hear onto some of Vanessa's stories about Mr. Shula and that. And yeah, yes, I'm maybe getting a bit emotional here right now because of how I'm feeling right now, I'm feeling good, man. Even though I'm going through a tough time, I'm still feeling good. You know why? Because I haven't picked up drugs tonight. I haven't picked up alcohol tonight. I haven't ran away from my problems again tonight. I'm facing my problems head on. I'm taking responsibility for the actions that I've done and for the problems that I've caused. And all that I have to do is keep going through it. There's been times here on the farm that, like I said, at about 8 months, I ran away. Because I wanted to run away from taking responsibility of something that I had done wrong, man. I wanted to blame every single other person except myself. And it took me a while after that, about 2-3 months, sitting in meetings here and looking at Mr. Hall and Mr. Kurt and hiding here in the corner on the couch. There was a couch here behind me to the right-hand side. A long couch. Mr. Hall's bed, actually. That I used to sit on the corner. Yes, Mr. Hall sleeps on the couch. to give every other addict on this farm a bed, man. That's what he does for us. He sleeps on the couch when he comes home, so that we all got a good bed and we comfortable at night. That's what that man does for us. Mr. Hall does for us. Yeah, you know, as I was saying, at 8 months, it took me like 2-3 months to sit here in the meetings and listen and sort of go through what I had to go through, and sometimes not liking what I'm hearing from Mr. Hall and Mr. Schuler, sometimes being like, hey, I'm not going to listen to this nonsense in this meeting, man, but you know why I was saying that? Because the meeting was for me, man. Every single meeting that was in this house was for me. Every meeting in this house is for every single addict here, whether you like it or not. You know, even if it's a cuck-out meeting to another addict here that's done something wrong, the message is still for me. Because I can learn from another man's mistakes, so that I don't make the same mistake in life. Or I don't make the same mistake that he has, that he's done. Yeah, Auntie Michelle, you know, I think it took today to get me to sounding so strong and positive. I've been on a really tough like last 2 weeks and that. I don't really want to talk about it, but you know, I think today something clicked inside of me that I cannot do this by myself. What I was going through the last 2 weeks, I was trying to do it by myself, man. And I can't. And something happened today that made me realize that I cannot do it by myself. No matter how strong I am or how long I am in recovery, I need to put my trust into Mr. Hall and Mr. Schuler and speak to them about every single thing that is going on right now, man. In this mind, in this heart, in this feelings that I've got, I need to speak to them. I need to admit my wrongs. I need to be able to admit my wrongs to them and tell them what I have done wrong, man, so that they can help me get out of this feeling that I'm in. As it's always said here, like, no matter what anybody else does to you or says to you and that, it shouldn't affect you, man. You can only control you. You cannot control anybody else other than yourself. And whatever you're going through, you're the only one that's going through it. Nobody else is going through your problems, through your emotions, and what's in your mind. Only you. So you need to change you, man. And, you know, like, yeah, I am feeling quite strong tonight, you know, like, I think I needed what I needed today, man. I had a bit of anger go through me, a bit of hurt, a bit of everything, but hey, man, why do I need that? All I need in my life right now still is recovery, man. Because by doing recovery, the rest will just fall into place. By doing the next right thing, as Mr. Hall always tells us, everything else will fall into place, man. And yeah, sometimes I hate myself that it's taken me 2 weeks to realize these things there. Sometimes I just wish, like, hey, why didn't you see this the first, second, third day that you were going through a tank? But hey, sometimes we have to learn, as I said. And here we are allowed to learn. Is what I've also said in that this evening is, here we are allowed to learn from our mistakes, man. Especially when you've been here longer. Not saying I'm going home anytime soon, because I'm not. I can guarantee you that I'm not going home anytime soon. But it's the training ground for the day that I do go home, man. Yeah, lekker, Wella. Love you too, so proud of you. Yeah, thanks everyone for the good comments, you know, and uplifting comments and that, and I hope my message this evening is a bit uplifting to everyone, you know, that no matter what struggle we're going through, we can always push through it, and we can always pick ourselves up, man. Or other people can sometimes help pick us up as well, just by the little bit of advice that they give us, or sometimes just putting something straight with us, man, and saying it straight. Hey, thank you, my boy. Sorry, hey, thank you, my boy. He's 18. His mate died today of an overdose. My heart broke. I said to my son, don't touch that shit. I said, your aunt nearly died from drugs. Any other advice I can tell my boy? Hey, you know, Stephanie, that's a tough one, man. I'm sorry for the loss to your son's friend, and you know, It's another addict, man. The devil has won once again. We can't allow the devil to win. I will not allow the devil to win on my side again. Eh? God is good. God is my protector. And as long as I have faith in God, like honestly, like there's no falling for me. Eh? Sometimes I lack that faith, and maybe the last 2 weeks I lacked a bit of faith, you know. It says, where's the just for today, man? Eddie, where's the just for today?
On my phone, in the book.
Yeah, no, there's the book there. Can I get the book, please? Yeah, Ashley.
I was going to tell you to close the one that's just for today.
Yeah, no, I want to get to that just for today now, you know, like,
Hello everybody, love you
no,
guys all.
Yes, Eddie, maybe me and him will give you guys another meeting again like a few months ago.
Yeah, most definitely.
It felt good to give that meeting together and that. And, yeah, no, there's Angie, baby. It's Angus's birthday, everyone. Say happy birthday to Angus. Lekker, Angus.
RAEL farm. Here we go.
And any other advice I can tell my boy? You know, Stephanie, like, all you have to tell your child is he's learned from that boy's mistake, man. Or look up to God, my boy, and give your life over to God, and God will not lead you in that direction. As I said, the devil has won, and we cannot let the devil win. And today, January the 26th, the just for today is self-centeredness. Self-centeredness means you are not doing of God's will, man. You are going back into Tank's will, Ryan's will. I'm doing my will again, man. In step 3, I gave my life over I handed my will and my power over to the care of God as I understood Him. Yes, I handed my will over to the care of God. So every time I got fear, man, it's a lack of faith. Every time I'm scared of something to happen, it's a lack of faith. Every time I'm fighting to keep something, you know, like, am I really putting my trust in God? That God knows the plans that He has for me, man. Yeah, no, do you know how lekker it is to have the people sitting around you laughing, smiling, giving a tight comment here, and just having this positivity around, you know. It's always, thank you, Auntie Leslie's always spoiling me with chocolates. Thank you, Auntie Leslie. But I don't know, I'm on a bit of a diet again, you know. Not really a diet, but just trying to not eat so much. Lekker goed. But Auntie Leslie spoils me all the time. Like, yeah, it's very difficult. My biggest problem is always sitting in my head. Thanks for your message, thank you. Miss you guys and my brothers. I do tell my boy to believe in God for real. And to believe in God. Thanks you. I'll tell him again. It's a very difficult one, Stephanie, you know, like, I don't know how old your child is, but maybe he should be watching this message tonight, man. And maybe I'll let him understand maybe where I come from. I wasn't on the streets yet, but I was close to the streets, you know.
I'm 5 now.
I almost gave up. I almost sold everything. I sold my car. I sold every single item in my flat. There was nothing left. And I can tell you now, if it wasn't for my father, I would have sold my flat as well. And I would have been walking the streets of Forticker Road today. That's where I would have been. And you know, like, yes, I've still got my flat and that, and it's been rent out and that for now. So yes, I've still got something, but everything else that I've lost, doesn't matter anymore, man. Because I'm starting to grow spiritually. I'm starting to feel alive again, man. When I was selling all of those things that I'd given up on life, I didn't think there was anything good to come of life anymore. So I started giving up. I started throwing away everything that I'd worked so hard for, or that even my parents sometimes work so hard for. Let me not like forget about that. A lot of things I was just given, man. Vincent, I started at the age of about 14, 15, smoking weed with friends, you know, trying it out. Started selling weed at the age of 16. got warned then by one of my good friends' mothers that the police is watching me, and so maybe took a break for about a few months, and then caught in some big trouble with my mother and that at home. Started to love the money after I was selling the weed, you know. My mother took it hardly, gave me a second chance. Eventually had to leave her house, went to go stay by my auntie Heather and that. Things got a bit better there, finished my matric and that, staying there by her. And you know, from there I sort of wanted to go live alone, get out the house, see if I could start my own sort of life in that. And that didn't work. That was a disaster. Because I was hustling to sort of to live day by day, having drugs on me all the time, selling drugs all the time. The combination didn't work at all, and sorry, I just want to light the cigarette. I love cigarettes. I only smoke about a box and a half a day, sometimes 2 boxes. That's on a bad day. And yeah, as I was saying, Vincent, I went eventually at about the age of 2021, I went to my first trance party. After always telling my friends, hey, you saw a bunch of druggies going to the trance parties and that. And yeah, I eventually went to a first trance party, and I tried drugs and that there. And hey, I had a bad trip my first time actually trying it. And the second time I took it, hey, I had the best time of my life, you know. Well, what I thought at that time was the best time of my life. And slowly but surely, going from the party drugs, went on to cocaine, full-blown cocaine addict, sometimes spending 4,000 or 5,000 rand a night on it. As my salary comes in, spending it, hustling a good 15, 20 grand sometimes on a Friday, Saturday night, and spending it on coke, going to the casino, making bets at totes. And anything that had to do with money, I was always there, you know. My friends knew if they needed any item, if they needed anything, if they needed somebody to hustle something, hey, phone Tank, he'll get it for you. I've had a lot of connections. I still do have a lot of connections. Like Mr. Hall always tells me, hey, Tank, if we need something, phone Tank, and he'll organize it for us, you know. I tend to save people's number that I've always met along the road, because you never know when you're going to need them. And yeah, sometimes they were bad people, sometimes they were good people, but, you know, might always need something in life from somebody. And
You had to change your playground. You had to change your playground.
yeah, no, I'm sort of going from the coke for I need a job, thank Alexander. Yeah, no, lekker, I can try sort you out. That is always plenty. I just believe, just look. Sometimes we don't always look for the jobs, we want the jobs to come to us. I remember I was that, sat at home for a year being like, oh, I want a job, but did I ever even look for the job? No, and the time that I actually do go and send my CV and I get the job, yeah, I talk my way into it, manipulating myself into like the company believing that I'm God's gift from earth, you know, like, and that I can do anything that they asked of me. And when the job came, I couldn't do it, you know, because I was that good at smoking in their cup and sort of winning them over. Yeah, you can open up the rooms now. And sorry, Vincent, as I was saying, you know, I was coconut, went to rehab 2016. I didn't learn much there, you know. I'm not saying that I wasn't given the tools there to sort of stay sober, but the program didn't work for me, man. That program didn't work for me. This program here, RAEL, is working for me. I'm a year and a half sober. Surely that can show something. And people always say, yeah, you're in a rehab, and it's easy to say sober, you're in a rehab. As I say, we get given the scope here to do what we have to do once we've been a bit here longer. And You know, if I wanted to go relapse, I could have gone to go relapse long time ago, man. Not Mr. Hall, not Mr. Shuli is going to change my mind when my mind is set on doing drugs and relapsing. Nobody, not one of you people on this show can change my mind if I feel like doing drugs today, man. But they've taught me something that works. They taught me a program that works. Just go through it, Tank. There's always better days to come, you know. Admit your faults to God. Speak to God. Speak to another person. Take a daily inventory. See where your mistakes are. Look at your step 4. Your personal and moral inventory, and see if you see any of your defects again, or any of your things, old patterns in life coming up again, and work on it again on a daily. The 12 steps is worked daily in our program. Sometimes I forget it. Maybe the last 2 weeks I forgot that as well, eh? And it's a good time to be reminded. Alex, have faith, my brother. Have faith. I didn't have faith 4 months ago. I was like, no ways. I'm not going to have a job. Nothing's going to come my way. Not that I didn't have faith. I had enough faith. But not full faith it would come in. And then the day when I just said to God, hey, God, you know, the spiritual awakening you've given me, I got faith now that you're going to give me what I want, man. And what I've been asking you for, Lord Jesus. And the Lord gave it to me at the right time. And, you know, even from my 1 year to 1.5 years sober, I thought everything's going to go smoothly and it's going to run easily, you know. And the problems that I fought between the 1 and 6 months and 6 and 12 months is going to go away. But I tell you, between 1 year and 1.5 years that I've gone through, the problems have got bigger, man. But I've learned how to deal with them better. And I just keep going through it, and I keep growing as a person. And really, I've learned a lot of life lessons in the last 6 months. Because I'm living a bit more, you know, like I'm not that I wasn't living. I get to go out a bit more and that, and I get to see everyday life outside and get to interact with people and that, and life starts sort of coming back to me. And I'm learning more life lessons, and I'm learning more how to deal with life lessons that's coming my way. Not just the drug problems, but life problems that everyday people are also facing. Leslie sitting here watching me intently or listening as she always does. It's good to have a mother figure in the house as well, eh?
For sure, yeah.
This woman treats us like her own kids. Leslie treats us like her own kids here. She makes us feel loved sometimes, just by the small things that she does. That small conversation sometimes that you can have with a woman. Don't always listen, but it's sometimes that small little things that you need a woman to listen to and a woman to give you advice. And Leslie's that here. She helps us sometimes along the way. Not sometimes, all the time.
Because it could have been my son. I always think of my son.
Yeah, there's Auntie Leslie saying it. I could have been her son, man. Or she knows that I'm somebody else's son. She knows what it's like to be a mother, a parent.
To an addict.
To an addict.
You died.
And that's why she's here to help us. And always encourage us. She doesn't want us to put our parents through the hell that she's been through again as well. Yeah, no, a small glass. See, not big glasses. It's all in the mind. Less sugar, less coke, you know, less gassy cooling. Yeah, I think that's the right way to think. But yeah, you know, getting back to January the 26th, it says your self-centeredness. The spiritual part of our disease is our total self-centeredness. What is self-centeredness? It is our belief that the world revolves around us. Our wishes, our demands are the only ones worth consideration. Never, man. There's people around you. There's people living around you, man, every single day. It's not always about me, man. Today I've got to give the message that I've got it 1.5 years to the guys that have just come in. So you start getting rid of self-centeredness. Be no service. Be no service to God. God wants me to give the message that I've got today to help save another person's life, man. To get him, try get him to 1.5 years. And then when he gets to that 1.5 years, I'll be 3 years. And then I'll try help him get to 3 years from his 1.5 years as well. That's how we be of service to each other, man. Is the things that you went through along your road, you try help the next person to not make the same mistakes that you did, man. And you give him the guidance that you were given. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to try give people the guidance that I was given. I don't like to tell people shit, man. I tell them the truth, man, that I was told. Sometimes I think, hey, you know, Mr. Hall and Mr. Schuller were hard of me in this area. Is this person, you know, like sort of at the stage where he can take it as hard as what I've got it? Because sometimes you got to think there's different personalities, eh? Maybe I was weak, but I was also strong. And I don't know if this person is weak or strong, but you know, we're addicts and we're still alive. So I'm surely we're strong, man. We're all strong people. If we could get here to come into a rehab, we're strong, man. The drugs didn't defeat us. It didn't kill us. So we were strong enough to get here. Now it's just to get through what we're going through here. To become better people. To get rid of their past. And you know, to start living again. I've got a new playground that I'm playing on today. Green grass. Not the sand. And you know, I don't like to. I like to get my feet dirty, or let's just say it. Sometimes I think I'm an earth child, but other times I don't. But yeah, sorry. Our self-centered minds believe they are capable of getting everything they want, if only they would be left to their own devices. Self-centeredness assumes total self-sufficiency. We say that self-centeredness is the spiritual part of our disease, because a self-centered mind cannot conceive of anything greater or more important than itself. But there is a spiritual solution to our spiritual malady, the 12 steps of NA. The steps leads us away from the self-centeredness and towards Godness. And that's what I was talking about, the lack of faith maybe that I've had lately. And maybe it's because sometimes Mr. Schuller always tells me, hey, Tank, go back to the basics. And I've never always also understood what he meant when he says to me at times, like, Tank, all you need to do for a while is just go back to the basics. I always think to myself, back to the basics. Does it mean, yeah, back to the program? No, it doesn't mean back to the program, man. The basics on the program that got me feeling good, the first time I really felt proud of myself, was when I made up my bed properly one morning. And I looked at it and I took pride in making up my bed that morning, man. Because it's the first thing that I do in the morning when I wake up. And if you can wake up in the morning and feel good about making up your bed, surely that should start your day off well, man. I'm proud of something that I did again. I'm proud of myself for making up my bed properly. Oh, you people are probably thinking there at home, like the woman and that, like, hey, what's this going on about making a bed? But to some of us, I never made up my bed, man. Didn't make up my bed for 2-3 weeks at a time when I was living alone. And it feels good to stand there afterwards in that room, like I said, and look at my bed and not see a crease on it. See it tucked in army style, perfectly. RAEL standard, Mr. Hall standard, Mr. Kurt standard, how do they want us to do it, and be proud of the way that I did it for the morning, man. You know? And to do my duties also in the morning, brush my teeth in the morning, all these small little things. When they say duties as well, you know, like, yeah, it's maybe cleaning the toilets, picking up the dog shit, or cleaning the smoking area concrete, cleaning the gym area, and do I take pride in it again? Do I start taking pride in my duties and do them the way that they're supposed to be done? Or do I start lacking and start doing them half, man? Because then I'm only doing my recovery half. I'm not giving 100% towards my recovery if I can't even do my duties correctly. And it took me a long time to start understanding these things. Sorry, my battery's on 20%, but that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, getting into routine again. Alex, you 100% are also right. You know, like
You charge it.
every day outside there, and that's it's not that we live a routine life, but Mr. Schuler likes to make the thing of like, you know, even when he was drugs, his mother and father and him were still up every single morning, Monday to Friday at the same time. They were going to work, going on with their daily routines when our life was standing still, man. And here we start getting back into a routine, start living life again. But yeah, where I got to, as I was saying, the 12 steps of Anonymous, the steps lead us away from self-centeredness and towards God-centeredness. Where I stopped making, not that I stopped making decisions by myself, I start asking God for guidance in these decisions, man. I start putting my trust back into God, and I start giving it over to God and saying, hey God, you know, I'm struggling with this today. Please give me the strength to get through this today. Or please guide me in the right direction today, Lord. And don't go on my thinking. What does the Bible say, you know, Tank, in this situation? From what you've read so far, Tank, and your understanding, as it says in step 3, and your will of your care to God of your understanding. What do I understand, and what knowledge have I got of God up until now, man? Am I doing the right thing? Night unto Leslie, love you unto Leslie. Am I doing God's will or my will? You know? As soon as I start like thinking back to that old dirty thinking of a few months ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I start slipping back into self. Where what I've learned in the Bible for now, it's not enough. It's never enough. The Bible is never enough. God's word to you is never enough. But the knowledge that I've gained so far has got me this far, man. What the Bible is, what God and what the Bible has given me. And yeah, I think my message to everyone out there is whatever you're struggling with and whatever you're going through, you know, don't forget that God is still there, man, and God is there for you. I know, like I said, I maybe forgot that the last 2 weeks, but hey, man, the day I realized He's still there for me, man, and I just lost my way a bit, but I've got faith, man. Because I had faith, and I've always had faith that God will get me through this. So yeah, today I think the message is stay out of self-centeredness, stay out of our own minds, you know, and think to yourself when you have any thoughts, what would God do, Tank? What would God's way, how would God like you to deal with this situation? How would God want you to be feeling right now, Tank? Don't allow your thoughts to take over your emotions, Tank. I've allowed it. But no longer. I'm giving it over again. Not again, I'm giving it over right now to God. God, help me. Help me to get to 16 years, Lord Jesus. 5 years, 6 years like Graham. Mr. Schuler, 2.5, 3 years. Richie, 3.5 to 4 years, you know. Adrian Angus, that's been here a year and a half with me. You know, these are all men that also I look up to as well, man. Because I see them sometimes, hey, they're pushing through, they're going through whatever they're going through. I see how strong they are. And it's hope for me as well, that, you know, Tank, I'm also just as strong as them, man. So keep pushing. And everything will be alright. So as I said, thank you very much for this evening. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for everyone, you know. Vincent, I still didn't finish your thing, so I went on from Coke eventually. And a year before I came into RAEL, I went over to Tik. And as I always said, there was a girl that once told me, you know, when I first started Tik, Tank, and I didn't understand it at this time, Tank, you're stepping into a dark, dark world. Are you sure you want to go into this? She knew what the dark world was, man. She had been in there for 15, 20 years. But me being me, I didn't know that there could be such a dark world. I thought I was in a dark world, not until I went over to Tik. My world got a lot darker. I tell you, a lot darker. I understood then what the dark world was. The underground world was. where me, brought up in the family that I was brought up with, walking the streets of Woodstock, Elsie's River, Brooklyn, going into Parkwood, Lotus River. Nah, never ever, man. I never ever thought of it. I never ever thought it. But I was there, man. Tonight I'm giving a message so that none of you, hopefully another addict out there is watching this, and you know, you're still not there in that dark place yet. Get yourself out of it now, my brother. Ask for help now. I'm telling you, 8-9 years ago I wanted to ask for help. Yeah, Martin Shop, Maitland. I used to meet some of my dealers there in Maitland, behind the BP garage, and there by the scrapyard in the day. But yeah, you know, that the message as I've got is to the person watching today that's still suffering with addiction, that you don't have to be in that dark world. You have to put that pride aside, give your life over to God, and say, you know, God, anything is possible with you today, God. So yeah, that's my message, you know. Like, as I said, 8 years ago, I wanted help, man, but I didn't know how to ask for it. I didn't know who to reach out to and how to reach out for it. And it took me 8 years of hard lessons and hard life, going through the hard life, you know, until eventually the drugs beat me. And I had to say, like, you know what, I surrender. Here we go. Take me, Lord, and work with me and mold me into the person that you want to be, that you wanted me to be, or you want me to be. So, yeah. Thank you very much. As I said, thank you for all supporting this evening. There'll be news soon. You know, urgent announcement or big announcement. No, I'm joking. No big announcements, anything like that. You know, I'm alright. Trust me, I'm alright. So yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for all the support, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Good night to everyone. I love you all. Please share this video. You know, there might be somebody on your page that that is suffering with addiction, or their child is suffering with addiction, and they're not watching this in the evening, but your share might save another life.
Like yours is now thing.
So yeah, yeah, as Lee J's going there, go to RAEL, contact Mr. Hall, Mr. Schuller. RAEL Sober City, you know, or as we say, RAEL stands for Recovering Addicts, Empowering Lives, you know. Not enabling lives, empowering lives. Nobody's enabled my life here. Empowering my life here. Yeah, nice, that's right. But yeah, thank you very much. Love to all and good night. I hope you all have a wonderful evening and you all sleep well. And yes, I'm going to sleep well, nice and fresh. Fresh for tomorrow. Have that spring in my step again, that little jump, that little shoulder push. Always like to click my fingers in the mornings, you know, the guys. So, alright. Lekker, good laugh to end off. Okay, love you all. Good night. Thank you.